If all will stand, we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, the regular scheduled meeting of the Beckley Common Council for November 22nd, 2022 will now come to order at 6:30 p.m. I guess November 22nd is a sad, memorable day. I guess it was 59 years ago that President Kennedy was assassinated on this date. I think it was 59. It was in 63. So, anyhow, I was a sophomore in high school. I was in the E.M. Payne store looking for something, and they had the radio on. And anyhow, one of those things you never forget, obviously. So, with that, first order of business, reading and approval of the minutes for the regular council meeting dated October 25th, 2022.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes as presented for the October 25th meeting. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Next, reading and approval of the minutes for the NRG RDA public meeting, November 3rd, 2022, where we talked about the remediation of the trash dump and other items that NRG RDA is aiding us in. So
I move that we approve the minutes.
okay, all righty.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve those minutes of the NRG RDA public meeting of November 3rd, 2022. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Then that same evening, the second portion of the meeting, we had a workshop where we discussed different matters. We had the presentation by Destination by Design, which did a great job. So we will, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Have a motion and second to approve the minutes of the second portion of the November 3rd workshop. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Next, I think we'll, Billy, I think we'll skip over this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We've hit a little bump in the road due to interest rates in the stock market at this point on our pension funding bonds. We're still working on it. We've had a call this week with our bond counsel and attorneys working on this, but for the time being, we're putting that in neutral until market conditions improve. So we'll skip over that. Next, first reading of an ordinance approving the Seabridge Acquisition LLC. Mr. Fowle?
Yes, sir. Yes, tonight will be first reading of an ordinance. If approved tonight, there will be a public hearing actually held at 5:30 on December 13th. And then the second reading will occur during a regular council meeting that night. This is the ordinance that renews the non-exclusive franchise agreement we have with what had been Sudden Link. It's now Seabridge Acquisition LLC, doing business as Optimum. And I will read this ordinance by title tonight. Two things to keep in mind. This ordinance will renew this agreement for a period of 5 years, and it also will continue to provide the city of Beckley with revenue from the cable company. The revenue is 5% of their gross revenue. We receive that on a regular basis. So this is a very important agreement with the city of Beckley. And this ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance Granting a Renewed Non-Exclusive Franchise to Seabridge Acquisition LLC, doing business as Optimum, to construct, operate, and maintain a cable television system in the city of Beckley, Raleigh County, West Virginia." Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Fowle. Okay, any comments or questions on the ordinance before we ask for a motion?
I do, Mayor. Just one here for Mr. Fowle. I've noticed there have been a number of strike-throughs and deletions and additions.
I appreciate you bringing that up. This was not the, you were not to receive the revision or the draft you got. You will tomorrow, and I've already asked Susan. I just saw tonight that this was the one sent out It was not supposed to have been sent out. We have the corrected final version here.
Okay.
And I'm going to have her send to each of you, email to each of you, the updated version, trying to read and make sense of the corrections that have already been addressed. It's more complicated than you all should be asked to do. So, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. And that reminds me also, we are still negotiating a couple of very minor points with Seabridge. And we may be doing a minor amendment to the ordinance and to the agreement at the next meeting.
Okay.
So,
'Cause I noticed there were a couple of comments that
Right.
noted the city does not agree with this and
correct.
so on, so on, so on, and so.
Yeah, I
okay.
appreciate you bringing that up.
No
Thank you.
problem.
And along those lines, Mr. Fowle, in his wisdom, solicit the help of Robert Rodecker,
Yes,
who is kind of the state expert on negotiating these contracts, principally with Suddenlink and their successors. So has guided us through the process for what, probably almost 2 years now, hasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, very good.
Does this give us any leverage to make sure that subdivisions like Woodland Village or, maybe down on Ewart Avenue where we've been trying to get some Wi-Fi on Ewart for the campground, would this?
it doesn't necessarily give leverage to that. What it does, though, it does require that the cable be offered in areas where you have a certain amount of population.
Okay.
So I can get back with you on that, Tom, but this does not specifically address that.
Okay, because I know there's been issues
Right.
out there.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve this ordinance on the first reading.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion second to approve the Seabridge acquisition ordinance on the first reading and schedule for a public hearing. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, by like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, resolution for the annual pay supplement, formerly known as a Christmas bonus, but which is no longer termed that way. This is a bonus that was suspended during the pandemic when we found other ways to reward city employees through our ARPA funds. Our city employees, as we all know, put in an awful lot of effort and make us all proud. So I would personally endorse this resolution and would ask Mr. Fowle to explain that.
Yes, be glad to, Mayor. What this resolution does, it basically, it provides a salary enhancement called a pay supplement in the amount of $850 to each full-time city employee who's on the city payroll as of December 1, 2022. And it is for the full-time city employees, that is who is eligible to receive this. And basically, as you stated, Mayor, this is considered to be a pay supplement for the employees, not a bonus.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments or explanation on the pay supplement? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve that resolution. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the annual pay supplement resolution as presented. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, thank you, and I'm sure the full-time employees of the city thank you as well. That does exclude the mayor, I will say that, just for record.
And council.
And council, that's right. We just keep putting our shoulder to the wheel, don't we?
We do.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to, item number 8, we still have some negotiation and discussion to continue with the development plan presented by Destination by Design. Been advised by Mr. Fowle, Mr. Trump, that we should skip over that and schedule that for the next meeting. Does that sound correct, Bill?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Very good. Next, we have Lieutenant Chris Graham from the Beckley Fire Department presenting the situation status for the CERT team. Lieutenant?
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Lieutenant Chris Graham. I'm also the Beckley CERT coordinator. And Beckley CERT CERT is a program under FEMA. And what we do is we train individuals how to take care of themselves in case of emergency, and then maybe branch out and help their neighbors. It's a very community-minded thing, and it's a great project. But over the last, you were mentioning the pandemic, over the course of that, we helped with, it started out with the COVID testing with the Raleigh County Health Department. They needed assistance because they didn't want anybody handling paperwork or pens. So somebody would crack the window about that far and hold up their driver's license. We'd fill out their forms for them, and they could go be tested for COVID. And in January, that switched to vaccinations. And Cody Fortner and John Zielinski from 911 asked if we could come out and help with the vaccination clinics at the convention center. And from January to May, we fully vaccinated about 30,000 people.
Wow.
During all that, Cody was so impressed with the Beckley CERT team that he put us in for our governor's service awards. And that program honors volunteers or organizations each year for good work they do in volunteering. I made a copy of the letter that, you don't care to take one, pass it down. I made a copy of the letter the governor sent us. We did not win the award, but he gave us a recognition, a certificate of commendation that I'll pass to you. And then it's on our efforts as far as COVID went and our organization. And then at the last LEPC meeting, the Emergency Management Division of West Virginia presented Beckley CERT with a plaque. And it was just thanking us for our service to the community. We have also volunteered with Red Cross and partnered with them. We've helped with blood drives, and we have helped with disaster response because they also come out in flooding, house fires, and things like that. And our CERT team has come out with them just as a partner to help them volunteer and get things done in the right way. But I want to pass this plaque out to you as well. But I talked to Chief Wills, and I just wanted to thank him, and I want to thank all of you for your support, because without your support, none of this could happen. And I just want to be sure and let you know what had gone on, and thank you. Does anybody have any questions or anything for me? Or?
I don't. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for going above and beyond your involvement with CERT, your involvement with the follow-up opioid treatment that we've talked about to supplement what FMRS does.
Yes, sir.
So we really appreciate everything you do, which is far beyond your normal job description, but it's much appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's handsome, isn't it? Okay, next, it looks like we, and this is for council's edification only, it's not an action item, but it's a notice of application for a West Virginia ABCA Class B license for 110 Harper Park Drive. Mr. Fowle, do you have that, or does Donnie have that?
Well, Mr. Morgan actually is here
Okay,
with that.
Mr. Morgan's here, I'm sorry.
We got an application for a WVABCA Class B license, and Andrea Nestor and W. Stephen Standifer applicant, Hampton Inns Management LLC, doing business as Hampton Inn Beckley, 110 Harper Park Drive, map 54, parcel 40, has filed a notice of intent to apply to operate a Class B license establishment at this location in a B1 neighborhood highway business district. This location, 110 Harper Park Drive, and the intended use, Class B license establishment, is a permitted use in the B1 zone. The establishment's location is more than 300 feet from any R residential district or OR office residential transitional district, which meets the requirements of any zoning prohibitions for this use and location. The location is not in an area designated by Common Council for the use of community development block grant funds. And the Class B license is just for sales carry out. They're going to do it in the gift shop, I believe.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, again, that's for council's edification. It requires no action by council, but thank you, Captain. Next, we're down to old business. I'll lead off with just a couple of things. 11/30/2022 is Judy Lusk's last day with the city after, I'm not sure how many years. She's been here as long as I can remember, doing a wonderful job with.
With me in '89, I believe.
Is that right? Okay, yeah, I would hate to, well, I wouldn't hate to think, but I'd like to, just out of curiosity, to know the number of payroll checks for the city that she has processed over the years and observed all the tax and other legal matters that she's had to keep up with. I mean, what an amazing person. So we're really going to miss her. And if you have an opportunity to stop by our office on the lower level to wish her well, that would be great. So we're going to miss her. We also had a nice luncheon just, I guess, last Friday for Jerry Stump, who also will retire on 11/30. And so we have two really great people who have pretty much dedicated their lives to the city of Beckley, who are going to be.
Those two people have taught me everything I know.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet. They've been tremendous. So that was great. On 12/3 at 11 a.m., we'll combine the Veterans Parade, which we had to cancel due to the inclement weather on 11/11. We'll combine that with the Christmas Parade. So that'll be at 11 a.m. And then on, 12/5, we'll follow up again with the workshop. Lieutenant, I think you're going to join us there for more comments on CERT and how we can participate. And we'll also get into a more in-depth discussion and probably have representatives from the Chamber of Commerce to talk about the city manager form of government, which we've talked about for a number of months now, and one that I think falls in line with what basically all of our neighbors are doing, from Princeton to Bluefield to Lewisburg to Oak Hill to Fayetteville to Charleston. And it provides, we think, and the task force that Mayor O'Brien, when he was mayor, the task force that he put together of civic leaders, that was their number one recommendation at the time. So my pledge as mayor at the time was, during my administration, we'll really look at this. And my personal feeling is that it's very important. It lends stability to the city government. And so anyhow, that will be part of the workshop on 12/5 at 5:05, that and the CERT. So let's see. With that, I think that's pretty much it from my standpoint on old business. Anything from any member of council under old business?
Well, I'd like to bring up an observation that I had the other day. As I was driving around on one of the days I have off now, it was in the middle of the week, and it almost seems like the city of Beckley, to live here, it used to be you had to have a car. If you didn't have a car, you couldn't get around Beckley. But today, there's a community out there that walks, and they walk everywhere. And I think, Pam, maybe we need to work closely with the state road and try to create a sidewalk plan, because these people, God love their soul, nobody wants to see an accident happen. But like on Harper Road and Rule Acres Drive, and I know these are state routes, but anyway, like they're walking in the middle of the road with baby carriages, like on Canal Street, from like the trail where it crosses Canal Street down to Robert C. Byrd Drive. There's no sidewalk there. And they push a baby stroller or their shopping cart down the hill to to Robert C. Byrd Drive. And a lot of these, we know a sidewalk needs to be there because they've got a footpath, beat down in the grass. And I think we should study that a little bit, because if this is what we're going to be, we need to make it safe for these people.
There's several residential areas too that the sidewalks are just awful disrepair.
Yeah. And I know some of them are not safe for wheelchairs because they're too narrow or they're cracks, or telephone poles in the way and they couldn't get through because we got a stone wall on one side and a pole on the other, but that really needs to be addressed. And the second thing is one of the citizens here in town has been calling Mr. Trump like once a month, asking for a lease for the fruits of labor. And I do understand why he's asking for that, because to me, I feel like it is city property. And I know if we were to rent a parking space to someone, a parking space, they're going to have to fill out a contract with us to park in that parking space. We're going to want to know their driver's license and their car license and what kind of car it is and all this, that, and other. And I think, it's right that, Fruits of Labor has a lease agreement. And even if the lease agreement can change, in the contract, we say like, we're going to evaluate this like 2 months from now. We're going to, evaluate it. But I think they definitely need to have one, even if, they're only paying $1 a month. I don't know what they're paying, but I'm just saying, there needs to be the formality.
I agree. And and Mr. Fowler's been working on the lease. He has at least, I guess, 3 leases from current Fruits of Labor locations in Alderson and Raynell and Montgomery. And your idea of some flexibility in the lease, depending on how they do, is something he's considering. One reason, in my opinion, that we've kind of put the brakes on a little bit, and it's been ballyhooed by my dissenters who don't think that it's proper. But we are in line, and I'll ask Mr. Fowler to chime on this if he chooses, for a percentage of the opioid settlement that will be allocated to certain cities in the state. And it's my understanding that the stipulation, as we receive those funds, we have to pass those on to organizations that are providing recovery services for, like Fruits of Labor, like Brian's Safe House, like a number of other opioid recovery, very good organizations. So in my mind, if and when that, and I feel sure it will come to pass, I think that could come into play in the final, what we hammer out as the final lease. But I will tell you this, the lease arrangements that have talked about are considerably more than $1 a month. So, and I understand what you're saying, I understand what certain people are saying, but that's my rationale. Bill, Mr. Fowler, do you have any comments along those lines?
No, sir, Mayor. I think you summed it up very well. I will state that there's no definitive plan right now for how those funds should be used, that eventually the city and other municipalities and county commissions will be receiving. And that is still being worked out. So I don't want us to give the impression that we know what the funds can be spent on, because we're not 100% certain at this stage, but that is being addressed.
Yeah, that has been suggested though, right? That
Right.
when we receive those funds, we can't use them to build sidewalks or pave roads.
That's correct.
That we have to pass those on to those who are involved in opioid recovery. That's what I've heard. And maybe that's right, but I thought it was.
Right.
Okay.
I just thought that needed to be brought into council because, we do get, regular emails from
Well,
this gentleman.
We do, and he is a gentleman that I dearly love. One thing I think we need to think about too is the reception that Fruits of Labor has had, and their division. They have their recovery division. They also have a for-profit restaurant, and Fruits of Labor is paying B&O tax. Their sales are generating 1% sales tax, so it's not as if we're just letting them cast, in the wind out there. But we'll get it done. I promise you that.
Okay. I'll wait for the new business.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
good. That's all I got for old business.
All right. Anything else from any member of council under old business? Pardon?
Not old, but new.
Okay, okay. Hearing nothing under old business, anything from a member of council under new business?
Actually, I have something with new business. I had to pull this up on my phone so I could read it. This is in reference to the new Stratton Elementary. They're going to have a mural project. Alumni of Stratton are invited to paint a 4-inch by 4-inch tile to be placed in a mural, which will be located in the new school's cafeteria. And this will be December the 4th from 1 to 5 o'clock. And the location is Stratton Elementary School Gymnasium. So they said first come, first serve. And I think Billy attended Stratton, so
Yes, I am an alumni.
good. Oh, and you did too. So that would be
good.
good if you all could go down and paint you all a towel.
Matt
Yeah, that'd be
Mullins will want to do it.
I'm sorry.
Matt Mullins will want to do it.
Oh, okay. All right.
What time
And
is it?
from 1 to 5.
Wonderful.
Uh-huh. And again, I just want to thank Chief Bailey. I'm always sending him texts, and just his officers have been, very professional, very, very professional. So I usually send him a text about the interactions that I have with his officers. And let's see, what else did I have? Tomorrow at Epling Stadium is the Mountaineer Food Bank. That will start at 11 o'clock. And also, Mayor, have you received any information about the East Beckley Post Office? If they're.
I haven't, and along those lines,
Okay,
well, I guess I have. I talked to Senator Manchin's field rep,
right, okay,
Ben Spurlock,
yeah.
at an event last week, and he is in charge of post office facilities for
Right.
Senator Manchin. And he says just a very difficult issue due to the condition of that building.
Right, okay,
And I told him, I know that several years ago, there was an effort by the Postal Service to find a reason to close certain post offices. And I told him, I said, I hope that's not the reason that this is moving along so slowly.
right,
I actually floated the idea, if it was a temporary situation until they get the roof repaired at the East Beckley Post Office, that perhaps we could find a temporary space at Black Knight for patrons in the East Beckley area to go to the post office. But I was told that due to the security that's required of any post office,
right,
that would not be acceptable.
Right.
So Ben Spurlock did not have a finish date.
okay,
He told me that they're working on it, but as far as anything definitive, I'm sorry, I
Okay.
don't have anything.
okay, thank you.
But that's one of our favorite post offices.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Okay,
Very
that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had something, Mayor.
All righty.
It was about Saturday or two ago, the West Virginia Land Trust and Corey Lilly Gary Moorfield put together a hike to go see to visit the Land Trust property
Sure.
that runs in behind Woodrow and Woodcrest. And we looked at this little park area that's, maybe a future plan for a park with where White Stick Creek and Cranberry Creek come together, and there's two beautiful waterfalls there, and this overlook area that's overlooks the Cranberry Creek Bridge, and it was received by there was 35 people at this hike.
Sure.
And it looked like it was going to be a rainy day, but we got our hike in, and Corey's here to talk more about it, but I was awful impressed with the whole situation myself.
That's awesome. I'm not on Facebook, but somebody showed me a Facebook picture of you, maybe hanging up a picture or a sign of some sort, yeah.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, a very talented local photographer, Jeff Allman, publishes a calendar each year with a calendar shot for each month.
Yeah.
And I think he's got the one of the waterfalls on Cranberry
Yeah.
in this year's.
There's 3 waterfalls in a mile.
Yeah.
Less than a mile. I mean,
Okay.
and they're big, nice, moving waters.
Sure.
So, so the potential there of what Corey has in mind, and
Right.
I mean, It's pretty amazing.
Sure,
It's a good place.
very good.
Corey, you have anything to add, or?
Oh gosh, there was 60 folks that signed up for the walk that day, and the rain scared them off. And so we got to 35, which probably was a good thing because that parking lot was filled up down there, and the rain held off, and everyone had a great time. It was received well, especially from the Woodcrest folks that came down to visit it, because that Pine Creek Preserve is on the back side of the property there, and there's lots of enthusiasm about it because you just don't get 3 waterfalls like that right outside of the city center. West Virginia Land Trust is, we're fortunate to have them as a partner, and that's 1,000 acres that runs down the shores. It's pretty amazing.
It's tremendous, right?
Public Works, daggone, they did a
Yeah.
wonderful job patching up this road that was going down the hill. They put this, like, grindings in these holes, and, I mean, it wasn't an interstate going up and down the hill, but I mean, it was,
I'll tell you, they've had
didn't have
this,
to worry about bottoming out or anything.
they've had this beautiful natural asset really right under our nose for all these years.
Yeah,
And really just now for it to come into prominence is amazing.
it is.
But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, that whole Piney Creek, thing with the mill and the overlooks and, yeah, and it's right in our back door, right in our back door.
And you were on the call, was it yesterday or the day before, we were going to resubmit the remediation for the trash dump? And,
Good.
and hopefully this will be the, we'll get the green light this time. I think
Good.
that they're really loading it up, so.
And one more thing, in front of you, the Historical Society had their annual meeting, and the new incoming president, she created this. It's a list, a word circle of the mayors of Beckley, and on the other side is Raleigh County places. And so
cool.
take those home, and
Isn't that neat?
that'll, you can kill some time with this, and it's pretty interesting. So anyway, there's a
already-
gift.
I've already picked out all the RAPPOLDs on this mayors of Beckley here, so I've got a little head start on it. That's a good thing.
Okay,
I'm
you're
just-
on there.
I haven't, I'm just kidding. Okay. All righty. Anything else from any member of council under new business? Okay, Amy, do we have anybody signed up for public comments? Yeah, that's a bummer. Okay, well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you, one and all. Good meeting.
Happy Thanksgiving.